Hello, everyone. Very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all who all are joining us globally. I am Partharu, Events and Program Manager for Microsoft Reactor. And yes, I welcome you all for the yet another episode of MVP Connect. Today, our MVP is Janardhana. But before we start today's event, let's go through our code of conduct. We all are here to learn together, participate together, so please be respectful of other people's views, understanding the differences, be kind and considerate in a way we all engage. Yes, we do encourage you all to participate. Please drop all your questions in the comment section and we'll pick it up from there. Now, I would not like to delay much. I would like to bring in our today's speaker and our MVP, Janardhana.
Hey, hi Parth.
Hey, hi Janardhana, how are you?
It's good going, Parth. What about you?
All well. Summer's hitting
Okay.
up, and yes, how's climate in Chennai?
It is too hot here. Because as the summer season was
Same
started,
here.
it was too hot. Okay.
Yes, same everywhere.
So
Yes, Janardhana, the floor is all yours. Let me bring
I'll
your
turn off
screen
my
up. Once you
camera
share the screen, you
for
let me.
I'll turn off my camera so that I can make better bandwidth. So good morning and good afternoon and good evening, everyone who are all joined as part of this MEP Connect session today. So today I'm happy to present a wonderful topic on developing intelligent AI agents with the Azure AI Agent Services. Before we start get into the topic, let me introduce myself. So I'm Janardhan and Selvaraj. I'm a Microsoft AI MVP, as well as I'm a Microsoft certified trainer community lead for the India region, so especially the Chennai location. And I'm a Microsoft Learn expert for the data and AI category. So currently I'm holding a 14 plus Microsoft certifications in the Azure platform. So I'm a global speaker as well as author mentor. Suppose if you have any questions related to your generative AI or else agentic AI, feel free to reach out to me my these LinkedIn handle. So I'm given my LinkedIn handle over here. And also I used to post videos as well as various hackathon activities related to Microsoft on my YouTube channel. So you can feel free to connect to my LinkedIn handle as well as the YouTube handle as well. So before get started, let's see what are the agenda for today's discussion. So the today's discussion is around on the agentic AI front. We will see about what is the Azure AI Agent Services and the topmost AI agents features, as well as what are the components of your agents and the overall working procedure for agents. What are the various agentic development frameworks are available, and also we'll discuss various tools related to Azure AI agent services like knowledge tools, action tools, and we'll see various hands-ons like the agents playground, how to set up an agent, how will you configure your code interpreter with the help of your Azure AI agent services. And let's see the last one is how to ground your data with respect to the Bing search. This is about the agenda. The very first one is what is this agentic AI? This agentic AI is a new framework related to your generative AI advanced framework, and it is a new frontier for your generative AI. And also, this agentic AI refers if you want to build any AI system that is autonomously, also, if you want to make any decisions with minimal human intervention in order to achieve your overall task or a goal, with respect to the various changing environment. We will call it as agentic AI. So under this agentic AI, we are going to create various types of agents in with the help of the Microsoft Azure AI Agent Services. So before we create the Microsoft Azure AI Agent Services, let's discuss what is an agent first. So agent, it is a smart software service that leverages your generative AI model. Also, it is going to understand the overall context in terms of utilizing the grounding data to make decisions, also to take actions wisely with the help of your Microsoft Azure AI agent services. With respect to this agent, you can use agents in multiple scenarios. Either you can use it in the single agent scenario, or else if you want agent in a multi agent scenarios, any type of scenarios your agent is possible to adapt, and it is possible to create it with the help of this Microsoft Azure AI agent services. In terms of the single agent scenario, let's take an example. In an organization, if you want to create your own agents where the employee used to assist what are the expenses he has spent within the organization, and you want to claim as well as you want to process those expenses, you can use single agent scenario. Okay. Likewise, in complex cases, you can use this Azure AI agent services with respect to the multi-agent scenarios where two agents will interact with each other. One agent will perform the process of your booking the flight reservation as well as your hotel booking. That is a travel booking agent. The another agent, which is nothing but the expense agents. When this expense agents as well as your travel agent is used to communicate and send all the expenses as well as all the invoices to the expense agents to submit the bills wisely with the help of your Microsoft Azure AI agent services. Using that, we can create your own agents. If you want to deploy your agents, you can test your agents within a fraction of seconds. That is the beauty of your Microsoft Azure AI agent services. Let's see what are the features of this AI agents. There are various features are available with respect to the Azure AI agent services. The very first one is the autonomy. When I say autonomy, you can work with any type of agent with minimal human intervention. Okay, so we no need for like if you want to spend large amount of time whenever you create an agent, it's not like that. You can spend less time with a minimal human intervention in terms of autonomy. And agents, you can respond as well as you can react with the various environmental shifts. Also, you can anticipate the future behavior of agent scenarios in multiple cases, and it has a learning ability to refine the various goals as well as your adoption at various framework also. That is in terms of learning ability has concern. And the beauty of these agents, you can collaborate with human based interactions that is possible using agents. And also you can create agents in various platforms, various environment, various services. It is possible to deploy in terms of mobility as well. So these are the features how AI agents has been created and how we can interact with the minimal human intervention using these features of AI agents. So the beauty of this Azure AI agent service, if you notice in the Microsoft Azure AI Foundry, now we are able to see the Azure AI agent service. This Azure AI agent service, it is your part of your Microsoft Azure AI Foundry. I'll show you in the Microsoft portal where you can see the Azure AI Agent Services. So, in order to create your Microsoft Azure AI Agent Service, first of all, you have to provision a resource with respect to the Azure AI Foundry. Okay. So, I have already provisioned the resources, but I'll tell you how the steps has been involved to make your Azure AI Agent Services deployment. The very first one is you have to create a Azure AI Foundry. So in this Azure AI Foundry, the first one is you can create a hub followed by a project, or else you create a project and you will later on you can create a hub. So vice versa, you can do it. So what I'll do now is I'll create a hub first. Okay. So when I say the Azure AI Foundry hub, it is your container for all your Azure AI projects. So in this container only, we will be creating the hub first. First, we will be choosing the subscription. We have to use your resource group. You have to provide a name. So once you fill all these details and you hit the button review plus create. Afterwards, this will hardly take a minute or two to make this particular Azure AI hub successful. So once it is completed, your hub has been created successfully. So what is the hub I have provisioned? It is INS Tech Hub. So this is the hub I have provisioned already. So once you have created the hub, the next step is you have to click this button known as Launch Azure AI Foundry. The moment you launch your Azure AI Foundry, you will be navigated to this particular tab, and then you have to use the button known as Create a Project. So once you create a project, it will definitely ask your project name. So by default, the project name it is provided. You can use the same project name, or else you can change your project name as well. And which hub you want to associate with this project to be created. So that you can change it accordingly. So I have already created the project ins-tech-project. And this particular project I have deployed under the East US region. So when you click this, you can notice in your Azure AI Foundry, the left-hand side, there is an option known as agents. And these agents, they keep on adding the new features, and still this is still the preview phase only. So what I will do now is, when you click this agents, before you start clicking any agent, you are supposed to deploy the model. Okay. This is how we used to create a Azure AI agent services. So before that, let me revisit the presentation one more time. So this Azure AI Agent Service, it is a part of your Microsoft Azure AI Foundry stack itself. And what is the beauty of this Azure AI Agent Service? This Azure AI Agent Service, it is a fully managed service where you will be have an option to create your own agents, as well as you can upload your files related to your file search, related to your Microsoft Fabric. Even you can upload a file from a SharePoint. So various knowledge tools as well as action tools are available with respect to different grounding framework data that is available in your Azure AI agent services. And this Azure AI agent services, you can create your agent, a visual agent in your Microsoft Azure AI Foundry. And also, you can create your Azure AI agents using your SDK as well. Okay. So there are multiple ways to create your Azure AI agent services. So you can create it through your Azure AI Foundry portal, or else if you want the code first approach, use your Azure AI agent SDKs using your Visual Studio Code. So let's see what are the components of your Microsoft Azure AI agent services. When I say the components, so we have a wide number of components as well as connectors available in your Azure AI agent services. The very first one is model. So whenever you want to create any Azure AI agent service, you have to create or you have to deploy a base model or a fine-tuned model. So when I say the model, almost 1,868 models are available in the model catalog of Azure AI Foundry. So when I say the model, it could be GPT-4o, GPT-4o Mini, O3 Mini, GPT 4.5, or as Llama model or a Mistral model, any type of base model you can provision with respect to your Azure AI agent services. And with respect to data as concerned, you can ground the data with respect to your Bing search or as Azure AI search services or a Microsoft Fabric or any other APIs, you can ground your data. And the third pillar, if you notice with respect to your Azure AI agent services, you can handle your keyless authentication. And if you want to handle your secure data handling, you can use your Azure AI agent services because it has having the keyless authentication features. Also, it is used to ensure that the privacy and data it is in safe place. And by default, the Azure AI agent service has the content safety feature enabled by default to ensure security. And finally, with respect to the storage as concerned, the developers can use either the platform managed storage or else you can use the Azure Blob storage in order to get the full control as well as your visibility. So these are all the major components of your Azure AI agent service. And why we have to use the Azure AI agent services. The topmost three features, if you notice that it does the automatic call tooling. When I say automatic call tooling, no need to invoke a special function invocation tool. You can call your any Azure functions automatically with the help of one of the feature known as tool set parameter definitions. That is one. And you can securely manage the data with respect to the Azure AI agent services since your content safety service is enabled by default. And with respect to out of box model, it has almost in the model catalog, you can provision 1869 models. So whichever model is tailored to your need, you can provision it and you can play around with respect to various types of models which are available in your model catalog. And what are the various components of your agents? When I say the components, we have the model as one of the component and all the models which are available in the model catalog. You have to provision your Azure OpenAI service. When I say Azure OpenAI service, you can provision either GPT-4 model, 4o model or 4o mini or else real-time GPT audio preview model or O3 mini model or else Llama or else Mistral, any type of model you can provision within the model catalog. That is your first component or the first element of your agent service. The second component, if you notice with respect to the agent service, is knowledge. Knowledge, it is a tool which is going to enhance your data or else ground your data with respect to the Fabric, Microsoft Data Fabric, your SharePoint data you can provision, or else you can ground your data with respect to Bing search, or you can bring your own data, that is also possible. And also you can ground your data related to your Azure AI search service as well. So this is related to the knowledge tools component. We have one more option known as your action tools. Action tools components, it is going to perform an action or else it is going to run a particular code. So when I say run a code or else perform a certain actions, you can use code interpreter or else you can use either Azure functions or Azure logic apps or custom tools you can make use of it with respect to the actions tools as concerned. And with respect to storages, you can use either platform managed storage or you can use your bring your own file storage or blob storage. Developer can choose any one of this storage according to their need, or if you want to customize to your option, you can make use of it. So these are all the four major elements if you want to build as well as if you want to deploy any Azure AI agent services. Let's see how the agents are actually working. So when I say the user is prompting with respect to prompters, user wants to book a trip for a client meeting, which is going to happen in New York. And he needs to fly out from next Monday, and the return is on the Friday. This is the overall user context, and user is going to create a travel booking agent for a trip from New York for the purpose of client meeting. And what are the ideal components you need is, the very first one is you need to provision a resource with respect to Azure OpenAI. In the Azure OpenAI, you can deploy either a base model or else you can deploy a fine-tuned model. Once the model has been provisioned, user can use either the knowledge tools options. So when I say knowledge tools options, it is a data source where you can provision the data related to files, or it could be a Microsoft Fabric or a Bing search, or in terms of your Microsoft grounding the data with the Bing search. So these are all the options available for the knowledge sources. And if you want to perform an action, or else user wants to write a code, you can use either the code interpreter or Azure Functions, or else you can use custom tools. That's how usually an agent works. So when you started creating an agents, and you know how to, you have deployed the model, you use the knowledge tools as well as actions tools. What are the steps which has been created in the background? First of all, it is started creating an agent ID. Once the agent ID has been created, it will create a thread ID. And once the thread ID as well as agent ID has been mapped, you can start running your agents. And while running your agents, it is going to perform whether the agent has completed or the agent has failed. You will get a status message with the help of run status functionality. Finally, you can get the agent's response at the final output with the help of either your Azure AI Agent SDK, or else you can make use of your Foundry model. So these are all the six steps you have to use while performing the Microsoft Azure AI Agent Services. So what type of agent here created is travel planning agents, and we know what is the system messages, which model you need to ground it. After the model has been grounded, you can use your knowledge tools, as well as you can make use of which particular knowledge base you have to use it. So these are all the essential components in the background, how the agent started performing and also executing a certain actions. And you can notice also how the agent started planning a travel. And you can notice the system messages, the user messages, and finally you can get the agent messages. What is the average cost for the trip from New York, Seattle? What is the overall cost of the trip? So that has been displayed in the agent's message. This is the working procedure of the agents. So what I will do now is, I have already provisioned the agents. So agent where I have provisioned, in a sense, I have provisioned the Microsoft Azure AI Foundry. In the Azure AI Foundry, if you notice, if you want to create any Azure OpenAI services, you have to go to the models plus endpoint section. Here, you have to deploy a model. Whenever you want to deploy a model, you can deploy any base model. Okay. So when I deploy a base model, you can use either GPT 4.5 or 3 mini, any type of models, you can start using it with respect to the model selection as concerned. Once the model you have been provisioned it, here I have provisioned the model which is known as GPT-4. GPT-4 model I have provisioned it. When I click the agent, it will ask which model you want to use it. So I have already used the model which is GPT-4 model. I have used it, and whenever you create an agent, it will create a agent ID first. Okay. Agent ID has been created, and after that and I have already uploaded two files in the agent section. Expense agent. If you notice the expense agent, so I had agent ID has been created once you create an agent, and also you can notice which model I have used is GPT-4 model deployment I have used, and an instruction section which is nothing but your system messages. This particular agent is going to answer questions related to the explains claim. Okay. And you can also observe there are two tools available. One is the knowledge, the another one is the actions. So when I say the knowledge, we have three options available. One is your Azure AI search, the other one is files options, and grounding with your Bing search. So these are all the three data sources available in your knowledge tool section. Same way, if you notice in the action section, currently you are having the code interpreter action available, and rest of the custom function, Azure functions, Azure logic app, custom tools, this can be provisioned with the help of your Foundry SDK. When I say Foundry SDK, you can do it in the Visual Studio Code itself. I'll show you how the demo will works. So we discussed about various types of services, storages we discussed with respect to developer tooling as concerned, and we know what is your agent API, what are the various sources we can use it. You can use SharePoint resource, you can use Azure Logic App or as Azure Functions, grounding with Bing Search or SQL database, or even Azure Search AI search services or OpenAI endpoints, or you can use the data from the Microsoft Fabric, or else use the data from the Azure Cosmos DB. So these are all the best in class connectivity connectors available for the Azure AI Agent Services. With respect to the developer tooling as concerned, you can monitor the overall data, and also you can use any type of storage, either the platform managed storage or you can use the Azure Blob storage with respect to the developer tooling as concerned. And this is the agent playground. Whenever you start creating an agent ID has been created, and you can use the tools wisely. If you are using the knowledge tools, we have three options. Grounding with the Bing search. So grounding with the Bing search option will be available when you have the subscription as pay as you go subscription. This grounding with the Bing search will not be available if you are using any subscription which is a free trial subscription, or else Azure Pass subscription, or else any subscription you got through offer. So those things your grounding with the Bing search option will not be enabled. You need to use pay as you go service model only for this particular knowledge tool alone, and the rest of the services it will work for any type of subscription. And related to action tools as concerned, currently we have a code interpreter option available, and the rest of the custom functions, Azure functions, Azure Logic App, or else OpenAI specified tools, these are still in the preview phase only. So what are the various options we can use for the Azure AI agent services development is, if you want to deploy an AI agents within the Azure AI Foundry, if you want to create a single agent, use this one because it is a managed microservices. And if you want to orchestrate multi agents or else your workflow, agentic workflows, for that use AutoGen. AutoGen is only for the ideation and experimentation purpose, this particular framework. This supports multi-agent system as well. And the semantic kernel, still your production ready deployment SDKs, if you want to build it, use your semantic kernel as one of the popular framework to build your multi-agent systems. And the semantic kernel is available in multiple languages like Python, C#, .NET, as well as your Java language. It supports using a semantic kernel extensions. And other than that, you can create your own agents with the help of your Copilot Studio. No need to manage any particular infrastructure using your Copilot Studio. With respect to your Azure AI Foundry, if you want to create any agents, you can create it. Either you can use your code first approach or else use your visual approach as well. So both options are available. So when I say code first approach, use your Visual Studio Code, where in the Visual Studio Code already that your model has been provisioned. You can deploy the entire model with the help of your development phase option. And let's see how to compare the Azure AI agents versus your Azure OpenAI assistants. If you notice the comparison between your Azure AI agents versus your Azure OpenAI assistants, flexible model selections. If I use your OpenAI, I can use only OpenAI related models only. I cannot use any other models. But if you want to use Azure AI agents, you have a model catalog available. We have almost 1,869 models are available. Because of that, we have a flexible model collection. And if you have extensive data integration, and I say extensive data integrations, you use your grounding with the Bing search, Azure AI search, both with your knowledge tools as well as action tools are possible. And enterprise ready security, and I say enterprise ready security, it is keyless authentication as well as your content, the safety filter is enabled by default to ensure enterprise grade security. And also with respect to your storage solution as concerned, so we have Azure blob storage is available. Also we are also having managed platform storage. You can choose any one of the storage accordingly for your implementation as concerned. I'll show you what is the file I have used it. So this is one of the expense policy document. Okay, let me show the expense policy document. Expense policy. So this document I'm going to upload in the Azure AI agents. In the Azure AI agents, I have already created the agent. What is the agent I want? I will add. I have already uploaded the file, which is nothing but your expense file. I have uploaded it. So let us play the in terminal. The playground. Let me play it. So whenever you deployed an agents in the playground, what will happen is a new thread has been created. You can see this. In this agents, we have a unique agent ID and we have an agent name. And here, which model I have used, GPT-4 model I have used it. And I use a system messages. And also what tool I have used is knowledge tool I have been used it. And once the knowledge tool, then the new thread has been started. I am giving the message as hi. The response it is about to generate. So it is given the response, hello, how can I assist you today? So what is the maximum I can claim for meals? Because we used expense vector store as a knowledge tool here. And let's see what is the response it is about to provide. So it is provided, it is looking for the references. It says the maximum amount I can claim for the meals is $50 per day. And you can see the citation information and what is the file type, what is the limit, how much of expenses for travel, for accommodation. So other stuff is also available. So likewise, without any code, you just upload the files in the knowledge tool and we can answer any type of questions related to the expense claim policy as concerned. So this is related to knowledge tool. Similarly, if I want to say, I want to use one of the CSV file. Okay, let me show you the CSV file. So this is a CSV file. If I want to make a better data visualization, I can start using the CSV file, okay, as a grounding to this particular data context. So in this CSV file, we have a region, country, item type, channel. So a list of columns are available. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use code interpreter option for this. for the code interpreter, so I have already created an agent for the code interpreter. You can see agent 171 is a unique, it is a default name it is provided while creating the agent. You can change the agent name as well. And agent AD is also provided. And we use the Azure OpenAI model, this GPT-4 model. And in the action section, this time I have added a code interpreter option, which is a CSV file. I have added it. So what I will do, I'm going to play around with the code interpreter option. In the code interpreter option, what I'm going to play is, let's say hi. A new thread has been started. It has started generating the responses. I'm going to ask a question. Which item type having the maximum units sold? Okay. This is going to ground the data from the CSV file and it has started interpreting the respective actions and it is performing an action in the background. You can see the item type with the maximum units sold is beverages. And let's say, give me the code to generate this one. I'm asking the code, what is the code it has been used. So it has given the entire Python code, how it has been generated. So it has, Python code is there. Finally, I'll ask, create a bar chart for the item type versus, so which column I will use is, I will use units sold. Okay. For these two columns, we need a bar chart to draw this. It is going to draw a bar chart for these two columns. So by default, in the background it uses a sandbox Python environment, and it has given the wonderful bar chart. You can see the bar chart: baby food, beverages, cereals, clothes, cosmetics, fruits, household items, meat. Okay. So this is nothing but the visual code approach of your agents playground. Okay. The same thing, what I'm going to do is, the other way to play around your agents playground is with respect to your code first approach. With respect to your code first approach, you have to install these three important libraries. One is Python, .NET, ENV, Azure Identity, as well as Azure AI projects. These three libraries are required for your code first SDKs. And what is the agent we have created is, first we have created a hub followed by the AI project. Inside the AI project, it is associated with the Key Vault service, Azure AI search service, Azure AI services, which is Azure OpenAI, and the storage account is also available since we are uploading either a knowledge tool option or as action tools option with respect to storage account. So this is the setup. We have already used it in our Azure AI Foundry. So this is the actual code. So this code says that what I do now. So here in this code, I have taken some of the connection string from the which option is the Azure AI Foundry. From the Azure AI Foundry, I have taken the connection string. Okay, so connection string I have given it. Then afterwards, I have taken the agent ID from the Azure AI Foundry. And afterwards, agent ID we have defined it. So in order to retry the agent, I used one of the try catch block. So in the try catch block, the first one is your connection string, and this get agent is going to get the agent ID, whatever agent ID we have used it, and agent name it is going to print it, and if it is not available, it will print the exception block. Okay. So let me execute this Python SDK code. So in the Python SDK code, I'll execute this. So I have given one of the user messages which item type having maximum units sold. Okay. So this is the input I have passed it in the user message, and it is going to print the respective details. You can see the item type with the maximum units sold is beverages, and with a total of this is the units amount sold. You can see the client initialized successfully, which is printing as this one is printing. Your project connection string is initialized successfully. Then afterwards, it is going to retrieve the agents. Okay. When we want to retrieve the agent, it is going to retrieve the agent name. Okay. So what is the agent name it is going to retrieve? Okay, let's wait for the agent name. So what is the agent name it is going to retrieve? It is code interpreter agent is going to retrieve it. Then once this is done, then it says the maximum annual unit sold is this much. Okay. So what I will do is, okay, so I have to use the tenant login. Just a second. I need to give the tenant login ID details. Just a second. Once it is given, okay, then what we can do is, I have already executed this code. You can see the agent retrieved was your code interpreter, and it has taken the user messages, your which item type is having the maximum units sold. So it has taken this and it start checking from the entire agents, and final result is the beverages. It is providing the beverages result. So that's how the entire code interpreter as well as your which option is your direct expense claim agent playground approach. Directly we have chatted this, and here it is your code first approach. For the code first approach, ensure that you should have a proper agent AI services. It will not work in your it will not work in your free subscription. It will work only in your pay as you go subscription only. So I have used this. And the last part of this section was how to use your grounding with the Bing search. When I say grounding with the Bing search, I have created one user functions. In the user functions, what I have created is I have created one evaluation expression. This is one user functions. So in the user functions, I call the method known as calculate method. And this functions I have called in one of the agents. So what is the name of the agent I have created? Here it is. Calculator underscore Bing underscore agent is a functionality I have created as. The very first one is I call the project connection string. The Bing connection name, I used it here. Then using your toolset functionality, I have used the Bing search as well as I call my user functions. So whenever you start executing the code, it has executed, agent ID has been created, thread ID has been created, message ID has been created, and also it is given the status. So user I'm asking the question is what is the weather in Seattle today? Okay. When I ask this user questions, immediately the assistant started replying to it. Okay. So here it called the Bing search functionality. Suppose instead of Bing search functionality, if I call the function as the other one, there's a mathematical functionality. Okay. So the mathematical user functions I have called it here. This time, instead of calling the Bing search, I have called the user functionalities where I use the functionality known as calculate. Calculate is the actual keyword I used it, and I perform on mathematical operations. This is the beauty of the toolset functionality. This will automatically change whatever user is about to be prompted, whether it is prompted to Bing functionality or it is prompted to your functions related stuff. This will be pointed with the help of your toolset function parameter definition. Okay. So if you want to create any type of the basic agent setup approaches, you create a hub, and then you can create one of the Azure AI project. Finally, you can use the Azure AI services. This is a very minimal component or a minimal project setup file. If you are not comfortable with the basic agent setup, you want to create a standard agent setup where you will be creating first one as the hub, and you have to associate it with your project, and the project will be performed on any one of these elements options. You can use either your knowledge tools or an actions tool. Any one of the tool you make use of it, and accordingly we can use your standard agent setup project. So that's it. I will pass on to the questions. I'll ask Parth, is there any questions? Hello, Parth?
Hi, Janardana. So there is a question like, can this be integrated with the Azure monitoring and be used for self-healing or root cause analysis?
Okay. So you can, by default, this Azure AI Foundry itself have a service known as tracing service. In the tracing service, Azure monitoring is available by default, so no need to integrate it.
Okay. So there is another question from Bopa asking like, can we integrate Crew AI?
For this Azure AI agent service, no, QAI is different. That is for your multi-agent system building. So if you can integrate your Azure AI agent services with either Semantic Kernel or AutoGen framework.
So there is another question like, how is it different than Microsoft's AutoGen?
See, AutoGen is used to build only for your multi-agent system conversation, and AutoGen is not for the production-ready application deployment. It's only for the ideation and experimenting state only. If you want to build any production-ready applications related to your final deployment as concerned, use Microsoft AI Agent Service along with the semantic kernel.
So another same question. Is this looking similar to building agents using Copilot Studio? The major
Okay.
difference is Copilot Studio does not provide choice of models now. What makes AI agent service different than the Copilot Studio?
Okay. See, if you want to create a no code approach, use Copilot Studio. And the Copilot Studio, it is associated with various types of connectors. And the Copilot Studio is not a code first approach to build any type of agents, But Azure AI Foundry, we have a huge amount of catalog available, and you can create your own model and you can deploy your own model, either code first approach or else you can use a visual approach. Both are possible, but in your Copilot Studio, we are not having any type of code based implementations. It's just only connector based implementation only.
I hope that answers. And there is another question from Rahul asking what type of data can we give to AI agents? Is there any restrictions?
So as of now, if you notice the SharePoint and Microsoft Fabric, it is still in the preview state. There is no restriction in terms of data. So all type of data it is able to process it. But some of them are still in the preview phase. So we have to wait for that.
So, is Azure Foundry once the AI agent is created? How easily is it to deploy in the
In the
production environment?
production. Okay, that's an interesting question actually. The beauty of this Azure AI Foundry, you can create your own agents, and in order to deploy it in the production environment, you have to use the semantic kernel and use either Python SDK or Java SDK or .NET SDK. It is possible to deploy and it is easy to deploy in the production environment. If you use AutoGen, it is not production ready.
I hope this answers all the questions. And yes, let's call for a wrap then, Janardhan.
Thank you so much, Parth, and thank you so much for everyone who have participated in this event. We are looking forward for another interesting event. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for having us today and joining us today. Thank you, Janardhan, for doing this event. We have more events lined up. Please do go register on our meetup page and yes, take your learning further. I have also shared few links which can help you to take your learning further with today's event, that is AI agent fundamentals and develop AI agents using Azure. Yes. Uh, so we're calling for a wrap for today's event. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you.